World Cup qualifiers always throwing up surprises as we saw in CONCACAF, AFC, and CAF. We're going to break down each region. Get your thoughts in the comments down below. Your biggest takeaway from the month of June with the World Cup qualifiers. Is it the Super Eagles turning into the Super Pigeons? What about the AFC, Indonesia, India? Oh man, we're going to talk about the Indian robbery. Or what about Jordan topping their group? And out in CONCACAF, well, there is an island that got their first ever victory in World Cup qualifiers. Get your thoughts in the comments down below. Remember to hit the like button. The like count for this video is 300 likes. We're going bold. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Remember to join the Discord. All of those links can be found in the description down below. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, all those places. Now, let's get into the review. So we start in CONCACAF where they just started their second round of qualifiers and Honduras got off with 6 points. I mean, look, Honduras in this group are easily the best team. Easily the best team. They should have no worries within this group. They beat Cuba 3-1. They beat Bermuda 6-1. This is easy work for them. I mean, easy work. Now, the biggest surprise, and this is by far the biggest surprise, is the Cayman Islands getting their first ever victory in World Cup qualifiers. And to do it in the 91st minute, I mean, if you haven't watched the reaction to it and the video, highly recommend it. The crowd went crazy. The player, they just knew this is a monumental moment in their history of football. And yes, we can always talk about World Cups and think about, 2014 or 98 or 2002 with the ever crazy moments there. But for me, this is what makes World Cup qualifiers and World Cup beautiful, is moments like this, where small nations that have no aspirations of qualifying, but creating history for themselves, it's just, honestly, it's just beautiful to see. And the Cayman Islands to do that, and with a header like that, incredible. I mean, Antigua and Barbuda, they should be ashamed of themselves. You cannot allow that to happen to you. The first team to ever allow Cayman Islands to win will always have that in their history. But unfortunately then for the Cayman Islands, they ran into some visa trouble going to Cuba because I think a lot of the players have a USA, ETSA or something like that. They were not going to go to Cuba and play. We know the whole situation between Cuba and the USA. So Cuba got the 3 points. Now, you could say, why did they not play this game on a neutral venue? Well, these are the sort of issues that you face a lot in World Cup qualifiers. Same thing happens in Africa. Same thing happens in Asia. There's a lot of these political issues. And unfortunately for the Cayman Islands, they had to give up the 3 points. And Cuba get the 3 points. And look, immediately Cuba go second place with this result. Next group, then Costa Rica. I mean, obviously for them, it's a good preparation heading into the Copa America. 7 goals scored, 0 conceded. And good to see that the young players are starting to get some legs like Galo and Ugalde. All the good players from Costa Rica getting some confidence, but we know in the Copa America it's going to be a very, very tough game for them. And then Trinidad and Tobago coming back from 2-0 down to draw with Grenada, then beating Bahamas 7-1 away. You would expect that Costa Rica and Trinidad and Tobago would progress out of this group. They are the best team. St. Kitts and Nevis are a decent team. They qualified for the last Gold Cup, but I would expect Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah, they struggled a little bit against Grenada, but Curaçao and Haiti, also they are just by far the two best teams in this group. They already have a 5-point edge, and remember, people, there's only 4 games played. So pretty much Curaçao and Haiti, they're into the next round. No problems there. Then Group D, where we had Nicaragua and Panama, both on 6 points. Panama obviously preparing for the Copa America in good style, scoring 5 goals, only conceding 1, even though they gave up a goal to Montserrat, and we know Montserrat are very, very bad, but hey, good thing for Montserrat. Interesting to know, people, Montserrat's manager is Lee Boyer. English people might know who that is. I had no clue that they hired this manager, but hey, he did give them a goal, so that's at least a good thing. Actually, 2 goals, because they scored against Nicaragua away. And shout out to the striker Jaime Moreno from Nicaragua, who actually plays his football here in Finland for AFC. And nice to see that Finnish league players are doing well international level. But yeah, I mean, the thing for Panama is they had to get those 3 points against Guyana, and same thing will happen for Nicaragua against Guyana, because Guyana will be the toughest opponents for Panama and Nicaragua. But Group E, Guatemala, I mean, 9 goals scored, 0 conceded, absolutely thrashing Dominica. The funny thing with Jamaica is, when you allow this team the ball, they don't know what to do with it. They don't. They were struggling at times with Dominica. Yes, at the end of the day, they will get the goals. Because Nicholson, I think, is a quality striker for Jamaica, got the 2 goals against Dominica. But Dominica almost coming back and drawing with Jamaica, that is inexcusable from the Reggae boys. Yeah, they're missing a couple players like Andre Blake, Damari Gray, these sort of guys, but that is inexcusable in itself. And Guatemala, getting those 9 goals, they should be fine here. But Dominican Republic will pose a big threat to Guatemala. They will, because Dominican Republic have been improving a lot more and a lot more, and they got 4 goals against the British Virgin Islands. So it's going to be between those 3 teams. I think Jamaica, they should be fine getting those 3 points against Dominican Republic, but Guatemala and Dominican Republic will be there. But I mean, Jamaica, they're going to have to improve a lot, because when they go into the next round of CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers, they're going to be a team that have a lot of possession of the ball. They need to do better with it. At the Copa America, yeah, they'll be defensive, and that will suit them a lot better. But in CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers, they need to improve if they want to qualify for the World Cup. And the last group in CONCACAF, it is Suriname with 6 points. Geraldo Becker is involved with this team. He got a goal, obviously the man from Real Sociedad. Then you got Puerto Rico, who thrashed Anguilla 8-0. And shout out to this player, Delon, who you might see is the ginger kid from Real Madrid. He was in those photos. He's obviously a Real Madrid player. Obviously, he's been playing mostly with the Castilla this season. But Puerto Rico, they're not just about Bad Bunny or reggaeton. They might have a football team. Yeah, they've done well in baseball and obviously basketball. They won in 2004 against the United States, which is probably one of the greatest upsets ever in basketball history. But now they got a football team. And going away to El Salvador and getting 1 point, that's actually a quality result. Quality result, because we know with El Salvador, they hadn't won a game in 2 years. They finally won a game, and they beat St. Vincent and the Grenadines 3-1, even though it was a bit of a struggle because St. Vincent equalized in the game. But El Salvador, they had to get that monkey off their back, getting finally a victory for the first time in 2 years. So any El Salvadorians watching, party. It don't matter who it's against. You at least got a victory. That's the most important thing. But it's going to be fascinating to see then with Puerto Rico and El Salvador, because Suriname, they're going to obviously qualify to the next round. It's just between those 2 teams, and who's going to get it? Well, only time will tell. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If anything from CONCACAF, what about Jamaica? Obviously, Puerto Rico now getting better and better at football. Dominican Republic, can they come back and qualify for the next round? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below as we move on to Asia. Now, this group was a very intriguing group. Obviously, heading into the final 2 match days, it was between Kuwait, India, and Afghanistan to see who would be the second team to progress out of this group, as Qatar were already through, and they just threw up their under-23 team. And that did benefit Afghanistan because they did get a draw. But I have to look at India at home against Kuwait and say, you did not play well. You didn't. Kuwait were the better team. They created better chances. And I'm really sort of disappointed that in Chetri's last ever game for the national team, you cannot get the victory. You had all the support in the stadium. It was a wonderful support, but really disappointing that you couldn't really generate enough chances. I don't think they created enough good chances in that game, India, if I'm going to be honest. Kuwait were the better team. Kuwait will feel frustrated that they didn't get a victory in that game. But then, then the drama began. Because heading into that final match day, it was still up for grabs between those 3 teams. All India had to do was just match the result of either Afghanistan or Kuwait, and they were through to the next round. What ensued was absolute madness, because India got the first goal of the game. Wonderful team goal, a little bit of a deflection, but they all count. They all count. And then Qatar. They're not going to beat these allegations, are they? The Indian goalkeeper thought it was going to go out. And he said, okay, cool, it's gone out. The referee will blow it for dead play, goal kick, cool. Well, Qatar had other ideas. They kept playing. They dragged the ball out of bounds. This is clear as daylight. This is not a situation like the Japan and Spain from the World Cup, where, okay, it was just a minute. You can see it from every angle. The ball is clearly out. And to not have VAR, look, most of these stadiums and most of the countries, they cannot have VAR, which I can understand, but this is the World Cup qualifiers. This is not some friendlies or anything like that, or some invitational tournament. If it's an invitational tournament, I can understand. This is a World Cup qualifiers. This means everything for these nations. This means everything for these players. And not to have VAR. Now, did India play well in the game? No, I don't think so. I thought Qatar were the better team, even with their under-23s. This is the big thing here for India. Wake up call. You're losing to the under-23s of Qatar. This is not their A team, not their B team. This is like their C or D team. So this is humiliating. Humiliating. And then Al-Rawawi gets the second goal, and that basically killed it off. India had no hope, and yes, it's demoralizing, and you don't have that sort of same mentality when you're 1-0 up and, hey, we got to defend for our life. It's demoralizing when you concede a goal like that, and I would feel robbed if I was India. 100%. But they also have to look at themselves and say, we need to make drastic improvements on the national team and the league. Because if I'm going to be honest, in these 6 games, India don't deserve to go through. They don't. 3 goals in 6 games? Come on now. I mean, it has to improve. And where it went all wrong for India is losing at home to Afghanistan. This is not even Afghanistan's A team. This is like their B/C team. And yet Afghanistan were pushing to progress out of this group. Says more about Afghanistan. It definitely says more about that they have character. Yes, they lost to Kuwait, and it was a little bit of a feisty game because the Afghan player was taking the corner. They were throwing all the bottles at him, and eventually then Aradi gets the goal in the game. It was beautiful team play from Kuwait, but if I'm Afghani, I don't think I'm so demoralized. It's your B/C team. Yes, you could feel like, oh, we had it in our hands. All we needed to do was just hang on for the draw, but it was not meant to be. And Kuwait move on. Now, I'm going to be honest. From Kuwait to India to Afghanistan, these teams have no chance in the next round. It doesn't matter which team would progress. They don't have a chance because they're all not good enough. They've showed sluggish play. And Qatar, Qatar was going to benefit one of these teams. And it turned out to be Kuwait in this situation. So let me know your thoughts. Do you think India got robbed? I would say yes, India got robbed, but that's not the main storyline for me. The main storyline is India should have really gone for a second goal in the game. They tried to hang on, whereas just take the game to this Qatari team. They were not good defensively. They left all the spaces during the game, and India couldn't exploit it. So that's more on India. And Kuwait, I mean, their league is not doing well. Their national team has faded away a lot in the last decade, I would say. So to progress to the next round and qualify for the Asian Cup, this is a big moment for them. Japan are just Japan. I don't take anything serious with these qualifiers when it comes to Japan. Do something in the World Cup. Do something in the Asian Cup. That's all I care about. You can score all the goals. You can score 10 goals in this window. It don't mean anything to me because your team is miles better than these 3 teams in this group. So, yeah, I don't take any takeaways from Japan in this window. The main talking point, though, is North Korea. Because North Korea hanged on, and I mean hanged on versus Syria. When I watched the game, Syria had all the chances to kill them off. This is more on Hector Cooper, who resigned after they lost to Japan, by the way. Hector Cooper, who brought all these Argentinians to the national team, and then lay an egg like that against North Korea? Like, okay, North Korea had 1 or 2 chances in the game, but Syria had all of the chances. Syria bottled this. They bottled it. And all North Korea had was 1 cross in the second half, and that was the only goal of the game. Just destroy Myanmar like every other team has in this group. But yeah, I mean, Ri got the hat trick. I'm just so disappointed in Syria. Yes, they're not a good attacking team, and we saw that at the Asian Cup. Get a goal at least. 1 goal against North Korea, and they couldn't do that, and they pay the price. They paid the price big time, and North Korea have qualified for the Asian Cup, I think for the first time since 2019, and now move on to the next round. So they're a very organized team. They're very physical. And if you watch the game against Japan, when it was in Japan, I mean, North Korea were throwing all the slide tackles. They were just spamming the square button on FIFA in that game. So they're a team you really don't want to play against in the next round if you're one of the big teams in Asia. They're a very feisty team, and they got some decent quality on the counterattack and organized, like I said. So congrats to North Korea. Heading into the final 2 match days. Thailand had it in their hands, and so did China. The game between China and Thailand, I just have to look at Thailand. They had this golden opportunity in the first half. It was a great goal from Thailand. Suprachai with a fantastic cross into Supachok, who had a wide open header. But Moenta had an opportunity and he hit the post to kill this game off. If Thailand are 2-0 up in the first half away to China, Thailand hold on. They hold on. Yes, China had a couple good opportunities in the first half, but I thought Thailand were actually really good in the first half. But then the second half was pretty much all China. And yeah, Thailand were hanging on, and I don't think it was good enough. Fernandinho missed a penalty. Like, he just absolutely turned into Sergio Ramos with it. It was a horrific penalty. Zhang Huoning gets the equalizer. And every time China had a set piece in the game, they looked dangerous. They looked like they were going to score. So Thailand, I think they really missed a chance in that game. Because then what happened in Bangkok, we're going to get to. I mean, South Korea, Singapore. When you allow South Korea one-on-one opportunities like Singapore did defensively, they're allowing Heung-min Son one-on-one situations out wide. Why on earth are you doing that? Is suicidal defending from Singapore's perspective. Lee Kong-in, I mean, the guy is a baller. I mean, what a player he is. Next season at PSG, he is going to be absolutely elite. Elite, because the guy is just, when he plays for the national team, he feels like, I'm one of the best players. Maybe he hasn't felt it yet at PSG, but I know when he goes to South Korean national team, he knows he's the man. Yeah, Heung-min Son steals all the headlines, but Lee Kong-in is developing into the main guy, and he got the only goal against China. So Thailand knew all they have to do is win by 3 goals. If they win by 3 goals, they move on to the next round. Well, they did get the goal. I mean, the game was pretty entertaining from Singapore and Thailand. At times, yes, Singapore were allowing possession to Thailand and just sitting back, but they looked very dangerous on the counterattack, and Thailand were just really, really exposed. I mean, Supanat gets the first goal of the game. Good cross in, and then Fandi, the striker from Singapore. He might be one of the best strikers in the Southeast Asian region. Probably the best, I would say, because that strike he had was insane. You put Fandi on Indonesia's national team, they're cooking. Nastroik. Fandi, you put him there, he's going to be cooking. So then Thailand were just in desperation mode. Absolute desperation mode. But Boramat gets the first goal that they needed to get back. It was an incredible goal by him. Again. Thailand with just the misses after misses after misses, and they paid the price. Wongorden. So he gets the 3rd goal of the game. And then Wongorden had an unbelievable opportunity in the 95th minute to win it 4-1. And he missed it. I mean, I don't know how he missed that chance. He couldn't even get it on target. And he was at the edge of the box, had time to pick a corner, and fluffed his chances. So Thailand really, 27 shots. And I think 12 of them were on target. And you effed it up. There's no other way to say it. They effed it up. They only have themselves to blame. Because 1, you cannot concede to Singapore. 2, you lost to China at home. That's inexcusable. Yeah, okay, you can say China are a good team. China are not the best team I've seen. This is not the best. This is one of the worst Chinese teams I've ever seen. They're not the greatest Thai team, but I would still feel frustrated. You had it in your hands, and they went down to what, the 4th or 3rd tiebreaker? It hurts to be Thai as a Thai football fan, but you can say, yeah, we put in the effort, but it's just those small margins that say you're this tier to that tier. And Thailand need to get to that maybe mindset and mentality of they play good football. Midfield is working wonderfully. Supachat, Tumoenta, they're really good players, but they have to get to that next level. And I don't know if they can do it. And China somehow advance. And I don't think China are a good team. They don't particularly defend well, in my opinion. And goal scoring wise, I mean, they don't score a lot of goals. They don't. So without Wulei, this team are nada. Then we move on to the next group where Oman and Kyrgyzstan moved on. Malaysia. I feel like Malaysia just missed a big opportunity in this group. And yes, the misses of Faisal Halim and Arif Aiman were big. And I feel like if they had those 2 players away to Kyrgyzstan, because that game was quite entertaining. Kyrgyzstan had a couple opportunities, edge of the box really. Malaysia were a little bit threatening as well. I feel like it was a fair result, the 1-1. But maybe if they had those 2 players, Malaysia could have taken that extra step to win the game. Because they knew they had to win that game. There was no way Oman were going to beat Kyrgyzstan, 7-0, 6-0, because it eventually ended up as a draw, 1-1. And Oman and Kyrgyzstan, when they advance to this next round, I don't think they really have a chance. Oman can be a frustrating team to play against, but Silhavi has to develop more attacking patterns when they go up against Japan or Iraq or Saudi Arabia. Oman can keep it close. They can lose 1-0, 2-0, but they don't have enough goal scorers. That's going to be their biggest issue. Malaysia, I don't think they should feel super disappointed in this window or with this qualifying campaign. Malaysia have improved vastly in the past decade. I remember when Malaysia didn't even get to the next round of Asian Cup qualifiers. So to do this now, getting 10 points, massive improvements. But small steps. Yes, they beat Taiwan 3-1, but come on, man. Everybody's beating Taiwan. So congrats to Oman and Kyrgyzstan for advancing, and I gotta feel ashamed for Faisal Halim and Arif Aiman, especially Faisal Halim, man. What happened to him was an absolute disgrace in Malaysia. Next group, Iran, Uzbekistan, they were already through. Turkmenistan, Hong Kong, they were already out. The Iran-Uzbekistan game, it was a good game. Obviously, Taremi hit the post during the game. Uzbekistan were really threatening in the final 20 minutes in the match. Both teams just, did they play their best? No. But I think this is a good improvement for Uzbekistan that they can go away to Iran and get a point. They have to show that same mentality and courage in the next round if they want to qualify for their first ever World Cup. They got the players. They play good football. They just need to show that grit and determination going away to the big sides. You don't have to always win at the big sides, but getting those points are going to be valuable in the long run. So this was a good test for Uzbekistan. For Iran, could they have used this window to try some new players and younger players instead of trying Jahanbash and Osman and Taremi? Maybe, but I'm kind of worried for Iran. When those guys retire or when they retire from the national team, I don't see a lot of good young players coming through for Iran. Or maybe they're just not testing them, which I would like to see. So if you're going to rely on this sort of notion of golden generation for Iran, even though they didn't win the Asia Cup with this generation, I would be worried. But they still got one last run in them to qualify for the World Cup in 2026, which I think Iran will still do because, Iran are one of the giants of Asian football. But Uzbekistan, keep an eye on them, man. They're going to qualify for this next World Cup because that center back Kushanov is an absolute beast. Beast mode. He will go to a top 4 league soon. Serie A, Bundesliga, Premier League, La Liga. He will go soon because he is absolutely dynamite as a center back. Group F, where Indonesia and Iraq had a great game in my opinion. Even though the first half between the two teams in Jakarta, Indonesia were by far the better team. Iraq had no clue. Now, yes, you can blame Jesus Casas for the setup and having Ali Jassim on the bench, but Indonesia were just balling out. The Hey dude in the midfield, bro, Hey, he is a baller. He's dictating play. He's almost like Toni Kroos out there, dictating play, has a wonderful shot, as we're going to talk about soon. Hey was just unbelievable. But Struik, the striker for Indonesia, I know he's young. He's 21 years old. He's had 15 games with the national team. I need to see some improvements. I do. He had a wonderful opportunity in the first half to lay it off. I think it was to Patiyanama. Wide open. It was wide open. He didn't play to him. Struik has to be less selfish. I feel like he's a selfish striker. Understand your players. Understand the moves they're going to make. And Struik, yes, he's going to develop better and better, but just frustrating at times. But Hey was just running the show. But then Jesus Casas made the adjustments at halftime because he realized that his team were having no control in the midfield and not progressing the ball well at all away to Jakarta. Yusuf Amin came onto the field and Ali Jassim. Now, the issue with this game is that Indonesia will look at themselves and say, we just made individual mistakes. Hupner with the crazy handball. I mean, you cannot be doing that. I mean, Hussein scores, of course. Then Aymat with the straight red card. People can say, oh, it's not a red card. The player was going to go through and goal. It was a red card by Aymat. Ali Jassim. I mean, the terrible mistake from, I think it's Sutayardi, the goalkeeper for Indonesia. Terrible mistake. You gave it to Ali Jassim on a plate. I mean, it's a great finish, but God. It's just, that game was purely individual mistakes by Indonesia. Yeah, okay, Iraq were much better in the second half, but I think Indonesia showed that they are improving more and more and more, but it's just those individual mistakes you cannot do against the big teams. If Indonesia want to qualify to the World Cup, which would be an incredible achievement considering where they were like a decade ago, the amazing improvements they have made, but they have to eliminate those small mistakes. Once they do that, then Indonesia are a good team. Because I'm going to say again, that Hey dude in the midfield is a baller. The other game in the group then, Vietnam and Philippines decided to have a crazy game because Vietnam's defense is not good enough. They showed better attacking wise and better patterns of play, but defensively, they left themselves exposed like crazy, and Philippines took advantage of it. Now, Philippines are in the beginning of their rebuild with Tom Seifeld. If you don't know Tom Seifeld, he led Gambia to amazing achievements with them, so give it time with the Philippines. They will be back soon to when they qualify to the Asian Cup, but it's going to take a while. They have to be better defensively, the Philippines, because they allow Vietnam all the chances in the world. And yes, it's good to see Vietnam progress, because, I mean, Trosier was a garbage manager. Garbage. That was a garbage hiring, and it was always going to be ending up in failure. So, yeah, Vietnam had a chance in the final match day, but Indonesia then won the game against Philippines. Hey, with an incredible goal. That banger into the top right corner. I'm telling you, this guy, he's going to change the fortunes for that midfield. Him, Marcelino, Indonesia are cooking in that aspect. And then Iraq got a 3-1 win over Vietnam. Somehow Vietnam always want to play a difficult game against Iraq. Always. But Iraq just have the quality, and I think Iraq will qualify to the World Cup. Judging by their next group, and we're going to find out the draw soon, Iraq are playing good football because going away to Indonesia, you didn't play a good first half, getting still the victory, they're showing character. They're a young team. People have to remember that with Iraq. They are a young team and they will only get better and better and better. Also, this is the most wins ever for Indonesia in a World Cup qualifying campaign. They had 4 previously. They already have 5. Now, this group was amazing. This group was amazing because Jordan, at the beginning of this window, were in 3rd place. And they knew they had to beat Tajikistan. Well, they did that, and Jordan secured progression to the next round. Al Naimat, I need to get his jersey. This guy is an absolute baller. The assist he gave to Oluwan in the game against Tajikistan, oh my God. Oluwan couldn't miss. He couldn't miss. It was on a plate for him. Poor mistake then from Tajikistan to give Al Naimat an absolute tap-in. I actually thought Tajikistan played pretty well in the first half. They had a great opportunity. It was like a 2-on-1 situation. I don't know why the player didn't just square it. Jordan got lucky in situations like that. They were leaving themselves exposed, but just Jordan have that attack that is just deadly. Deadly. And Tajikistan, I kind of feel bad for them. If they were in any other group, I think they would go to the next round. If you put Tajikistan in Group A, bro, they're walking. They're getting 4 wins. They're beating Afghanistan. They're beating Kuwait or India. So it's kind of unfortunate for Tajikistan that they were in this group. But then Jordan did a madness in Saudi Arabia. Because they didn't play the best, I thought. And they had to be heroic defending. Now, Layami scored a ridiculous goal from the corner. That flick on into the roof of the net was incredible by Layami. But Jordan just showing that quality. When they have that counter-attack and they playing those 1-2s and able to progress with the ball, and Altamari just with his speed and directness causing all sorts of havoc. Now it was a little bit of deflection to Oluwan, and Oluwan couldn't miss. The goal from Al Warade, another deflection into the goal for Jordan. I just have to look at Saudi Arabia, right? Under Mancini. Have they had a big victory? By the way, people, this is Saudi Arabia's first loss at home in World Cup qualifiers since 2011. So Mancini's era, it ain't looking good. Now, I'm not going to really blame Mancini for yesterday. Saudi Arabia missed all of the chances. They were sloppy at times in the final third. They missed some golden opportunities. Obviously, the goalkeeper was making amazing saves. The save he made on Abdul Hamid in the first half where he tipped it on the post, bro, it was a great shot from Abdul Hamid, but Saudi Arabia, they got to be careful. I don't look at their team and say, yeah, they're clicking right now. They got to find some patterns of play. They got to play a lot better. And losing at home, that is not a good sign. Yes, Jordan defended heroically and they were elite on the counterattack, but Saudi Arabia got some question marks with Mancini because the guy is paid ridiculous money and we're not seeing the results. But again, I will say, I don't really blame Mancini for yesterday's result against Jordan. I'm blaming that more on the players. The players got to take accountability for that game. But Jordan, if they want to qualify for their first ever World Cup, they're doing it the right way. Because they got the attack. When they want to defend, they defend like absolute warriors. They put their bodies on the line. They defend and attack with speed. Attack with speed. That is Jordan DNA, and they are fantastic at it. And I'm really I'm hoping they qualify for the first ever World Cup because it would be awesome to see these players like Al Naimat, Oluwan play at a World Cup because they're elite players in my opinion. Elite players. Yeah, they might not play in Europe and oh my God, Michael, why are you hyping them up? Because they're good players. If you watch them play, the connection they have, the chemistry, Jordan just have it and they can keep getting better and better. And getting a result like this away to Saudi Arabia is only going to give them more confidence heading into the next round. So, unfortunate for Tajikistan, they obviously beat Pakistan and Pakistan had a minus 25. For Pakistan, the main thing was qualifying to this round. They did it, and they at least got a goal. This group pretty much settled. Palestine only needed a draw against Lebanon. They got that, so congrats to Palestine. Incredible achievement for them with everything that's going on. To do this and have the mentality shows what sort of character this team is made of. And they only conceded 1 goal until they met Australia, and Australia said, yeah, here's 5. 5-0, although I think Palestine fielded a lot of their B players. One player for Australia who made his debut and got a goal and got an assist. I say an assist because it was a deflection by, I think it was Hurustik who got the goal against Bangladesh, is Irukunda. Now, I was reading somewhere, and Aussies, let me know if this is true, that he was thinking about switching nationalities and going to play for Burundi or some other team as well. I was like, why have you not called up Iracunda before? Like, this guy is clearly a baller. He's obviously going to make the move to Bayern Munich. And he got his first goal with a penalty. So, yeah, Australia, when they go up against the big teams in Asia, like the Japans, Iraqs, and all these sort of teams, Australia will find it a lot more difficult than in this group. Scoring 22 goals and conceding 0, it's no test for them. But when they go up against the big teams, you don't want to play against Australia. Because Australia, they got the grit, and now they got a baller like Iracunda, who's now emerged onto the national team. So, and Yengi getting a couple goals during this window, so good for them. And Lebanon finally scoring more than 1 goal. Would you believe it? It took them until the final match day to do it, but they got the 4 goals in Bangladesh. At least they got a draw against Lebanon at home, and they got 1 point. Forgot to add this as well. UAE and Bahrain also advanced, but I mean, it was already guaranteed. But shout out to UAE. They got a couple ballers on their team, Abdallah and Adil. So UAE's future is looking good, and they got some promising players, but I think it's going to be very difficult for them to qualify to the next round. And Bahrain, look, they're not the most expansive team. They're not glorious to watch. They just get the job done. They're going to keep it low scoring and try and advance to the World Cup, but I don't think it will be enough. And shout out to Nepal. They got their first 2 goals of the campaign against Yemen, but yeah, both teams are not good enough. So now, these are the pots. So when you look at these teams, you got Japan in pot 1 with Iran and South Korea. Pot 2 is Australia, Qatar, and Iraq. Pot 3 is Saudi Arabia, Uzbekistan, and Jordan. Pot 4 is UAE, Oman, and Bahrain. Pot 5 is China, Palestine, and Kyrgyzstan. And the final group is North Korea, Indonesia, and Kuwait. So we could get a group, and this group would be crazy, is Iran, Iraq, Jordan, UAE, throw in China there, and throw in Indonesia or something like North Korea. That would be a crazy group. Another crazy group would be Japan, Australia, Uzbekistan. Like, if those 3 teams, and remember people, the top 2 in the next round would qualify to the World Cup. If it's Japan, Australia, Uzbekistan, oh my God, those games are going to be elite. So that draw is June 27th. Obviously, I'm going to react to it when the draw happens, and we'll see what the groups are, because we're going to get some fire groups. I can already feel it. And I'll say it again, like, pot 6 has North Korea, but they're a team you don't really want to play against, and we could get a Korean derby in the next round. We could. In pot 2, you have Qatar. Now, I think Qatar are a very good home team, but let's see how they do away. Remember in the Asian Cup, they hosted it. So let's see when Qatar go away to Saudi Arabia, away to Oman, if they go away to China, go away to Indonesia, how do Qatar react then? And for Iraq, I mean, they have a very good opportunity here. They're a pot 2 team. They could still get a tough team. I imagine, again, another group like South Korea, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia. One of those big teams ain't going to make it to the World Cup, or they have to go through the playoffs then. This next draw is going to be elite. Now we move on to the crazy world that is CAF. And CAF decided to have an absolute madness of a window. There were so many shocking results and shocking play by some teams. So Group A had interesting results. Sierra Leone obviously beating Djibouti. Egypt did start well under Hossam Hassan, who's now the new manager and only his 3rd game in charge. Trezeguet, absolutely incredible header from Salah's cross. And then Trezeguet with a phenomenal, I mean, crazy goal to give Egypt the 2-0 lead. Now, they did get a little bit sluggish, I thought, in the second half, and Lassina Traore scores from sloppy play. I thought that was the only sort of danger that El Shanawi, the goalkeeper, faced in that second half for Egypt. And yeah, it wasn't a spectacular performance from Egypt against Burkina Faso, but I'm not really expecting Egypt to be a spectacular team. They're just going to get it done. And they're going to struggle away from home, but at home, I expect Egypt to always collect 3 points. They're such an elite home team. And then Guinea-Bissau and Ethiopia drawing 0-0. Then the second match day of this window, Djibouti and Ethiopia drawing 1-1. How much Ethiopia have fallen in the past decade. I remember when they qualified to the last AFCON in 2021, and now only having 3 points. Yeah, they got 3 draws, but still only 1 goal, and that only goal coming against Djibouti. Eek! Not good. Then Guinea-Bissau and Egypt drew 1-1. Now, this is where Egypt will face a lot of sort of maybe backlash from this window. Is they were so flat in that first half. So flat. They created nothing. Defensively, they were not good enough. I mean, yes, it was sloppy defending, and it wasn't really a tactical issue. And Amama Balde then pounced on the opportunity, but Egypt were so bad in the first half that somehow in the second half, they had to respond, and they did, because Salah stepped up. And when Salah steps up and gets you the individual goal like he did, you got a chance. I mean, it was a great goal from Salah, and he even had a great chance at the end of the game to win it, but I don't think it's a disastrous result for Egypt going away to Guinea-Bissau. It's humid, midday, very difficult climate to play in. So getting a result, not too bad. Then Burkina Faso. I mean, the Stallions decided to turn into ponies. What on earth are they doing? For a team that is so talented and has so many good players, from Tapsoba to Lassina Traore to Utara, to put up a performance like that, you have a 2-0 lead in the first half against Sierra Leone. Don't bottle it. And what did they do? Pathetic second half. To not even conjure up any good opportunities, allow Sierra Leone back into the game. And the second goal from Sierra Leone was elite goal. Absolutely elite goal. But I am looking at really Burkina Faso in this game and saying, you bottled it big time. And now teams are going to struggle to fight back with Egypt because Egypt got 10 points already in this group. And Burkina Faso already have 2 draws and 1 win only. For the Stallions, that is not good enough. They should be having, I would say, 8 points in this group by now. 8 points. And they only have 5. And one of those is a draw to Sierra Leone. The Ponies, they got to wake up. I'm not calling them Stallions right now. They're the Ponies. I mean, Group B, Sudan are creating history for themselves. I don't know what has happened to this team. Because from 2014 to 2022 qualifiers, Sudan, in World Cup qualifiers, they had a 1 win. They already have 3 wins, people. 3! This is incredible by them. I'm shocked. I'm really shocked because Terry just wanted that ball more in the first goal against Mauritania. He just wanted it. Second one was just horrific and just a comical own goal from Mauritania. And Sudan defended very well. And Mauritania, I'm a little bit disappointed in. They had a great AFCON. Yeah, they struggled at times to score in that AFCON, even though they conjured up a lot of good chances. And they haven't scored a goal yet in 4 games, which is pretty shocking, to be honest. Yeah, this is a very tough group because you have South Sudan, who are very difficult opponent. You have Togo, who are improving. They got 3 draws. DR Congo, Senegal, we know what they're about. But Mauritania should be doing a lot better. A lot better. South Sudan getting a draw away to Togo. Not a disastrous result. I mean, disaster for Togo because they had all the opportunities in the game to kill it off, but they didn't. Now, Senegal and DR Congo. It finished 1-1. I'm going to look at Senegal right now and say, I'm a little bit worried with Aliou Cisse. Because they had some good chances in the first half and Sarr bundled the ball over with the scrappy finish. I'm like, it's just not good enough. But Jackson. Oh my God. He had that one-on-one opportunity in the second half and he fluffed it and it hit the post. If he converted it, Senegal are 2-0 up and they win the game. Because that was like in the 82nd minute. What happens then? Malay, who was just subbed on, I think a minute early, gets the goal and equalizes the game. Now for DR Congo, this is a great result. Going away to Senegal and getting a point, that's fantastic. Then when you host them back in DR Congo, you beat them. That's what the mentality DR Congo should have. Senegal, they have not looked great, I think, in these World Cup qualifiers. As of now. They're going to have to step up their performance. Yes, they're missing the likes of Sadio Mane and these guys, but it's still not good enough. For a team that are talented, I'm a little bit worried with Aliou Cisse. Yes, Aliou Cisse hasn't always played the most fantastic of attacking football. Now, the second match day, they got 1 goal. And again, it's a little bit of a frustrating performance against Mauritania, but Mauritania are a strong team at home, so Senegal getting a win, it's a good result. Obviously, DR Congo beating Togo at home 1-0. I mean, check out Wissa's cross for the goal, people. Incredible to Elia at the back post. But Togo had their chances, even though Togo really, the chances they had in the game were long-range shots. There was one free kick that was almost a stunner. And DR Congo didn't really create anything after the goal, so maybe a frustrating performance for DR Congo, but with these World Cup qualifiers, it's just about getting the 3 points. Get the 3 points and move on. DR Congo did that, and Sudan continued their incredible start with a 3-0 victory. They had an nervy start because South Sudan did create a couple decent opportunities in the beginning of the game, but then just some poor, sloppy play from South Sudan, who are trying to build it out from the back. Why? Why are you doing that? And then Kader, Muzmel, and Al-Garbar got the 3 goals in the game. And Sudan, they don't create a lot of opportunities, but they're just clinical. They're super clinical so far. And after 4 match days, Sudan are top of the group. Now, is this going to stand? I don't know. I don't think so. I think eventually Senegal and DR Congo will go ahead of them in this group. But hey, why not believe, Sudan? Why not believe? Because with the way they're playing, defensively solid, being clinical with their chances they create, Sudan could be an intriguing team in this group. Senegal and DR Congo are going to have very tough games and are going to have a tough qualifying campaign to qualify for this World Cup because Sudan are going to be a tough team to play against. But Senegal, I'm a little bit worried. They got to improve in their performances. DR Congo are showing that they're a good side, but they got to improve and they got to beat Sudan. That's the main thing for DR Congo. Beat Sudan at home. Group C. This group is a madness. This group, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Rwanda are top. South Africa and Benin also on 7 points. Lesotho on 5 points. The Super Eagles on 3 points. And Zimbabwe at the bottom with 2 points. Benin beat Rwanda with Doku's only goal of the game. Even though Rwanda did create some good opportunities in the second half. Benin defended well. Lesotho beating Zimbabwe 2-0. Now, if you have not followed me on Twitter, I said if Lesotho qualify for the World Cup, even in the playoff, it don't matter, I will go to Lesotho and I will document about this mere incredible and unimaginable feat that Lesotho could do. By qualifying for World Cup, that's insane. Insane. They got 5 points now. Lesotho will feel a little bit frustrated by the performance at home to Rwanda, or well, at home they played the game in Durban, South Africa, because they didn't play well. They hit the crossbar. They had a good opportunity in the first half off a Rwanda mistake, but I feel like Lesotho could have done better. Rwanda's goal was great team play. 1-2 combinations. They cut it back to the edge of the box, and it was a great finish. But now let's get to the Super Eagles. Actually, no. Let's continue with South Africa. I think South Africa played a pretty good game away in Nigeria. Yeah, they didn't have a lot of possession of the ball, but they are just such a good counter-attacking team. And every player has chemistry with each other. That's the one thing with South Africa. They might not have the star names like a Nigeria, but they're coached well, they got character, and they have great chemistry. And they showed that away. Yes, the goalkeeper Williams, who I think is an elite goalkeeper, really a top keeper, made some decent saves in the game away to Nigeria. And then at home, South Africa they struggled in the first half against Zimbabwe, but Mokoena with an insane through ball to Morena. Morena getting 2 goals off the bench and just showing that South Africa have the depth and they have the game changers within their whole entire squad. Mokoena, what an elite midfielder he is. Not a great performance. I gotta shout out to one player though from Zimbabwe, which is Chirewa, who actually plays for Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League. The goal he scored is great. His combination play, just a constant threat in that first half against South Africa. That's at least a good thing for Zimbabwe. But Zimbabwe cannot give goals like they did in the first one. Giving the ball away like that in the first minute. So now let's get to the Super Eagles. An absolute disaster. Disaster of a window. They don't have a win still. They're on 3 points. They've drawn to South Africa. They've drawn to Zimbabwe and they drew with Lesotho. And now they lost to Benin. I mean, I don't know what to say now with the Super Eagles. After a great AFCON, the Super Eagles should have built upon it. And a lot of their players had a great season, from Boniface to Ademola Lookman, you name it. But when they put on that kit, that amazing kit, they should not wear it. They just don't show up. You can change the managers. You can say, like one of my good YouTuber friends says, get a local coach. He understands the football Nigeria. You could try any coach in the world. It comes down to the players. One, do they have the quality? I look at the fullbacks. Without Ola Aina, the fullbacks are not good enough. The midfield, do they have a creative midfielder? No, they don't. They have very good strikers. They have some good forwards. Ademola Lookman did not step up in these 2 games. He did not. He was very frustrating to watch. Sometimes trying to play hero ball, couldn't beat his man. I was really disappointed by Ademola Lookman in this window. Onyedika got an incredible goal against Benin, edge of the box, creating a little bit of space there. Onyedika was one of the standouts, I think, for Nigeria in this window. It's a disaster. They're 4 points now behind. Yes, there's 6 games to go. But now that next window, next year in March, anything but 2 wins is a failure and a disaster. So the Super Eagles are in trouble. If they do not step up their performances and step up their mentality, and I don't think it comes you can blame the FA, you can do all you want, because I see a lot of Nigerians doing that. They're just blaming the FA. Oh my God, dude, where's the organization, this and that. You have to look at the players and say, and the tactics from the manager, because you had a decent first half against Benin. I actually thought they played pretty well against South Africa. They just missed the chances, and that was more of just a frustrating game in the aspect of that. But the second half against Benin, when you're 2-1 down, you're not even in Benin, it's in Ivory Coast. Show some character, show some desire. Nothing. Flat. It was basically jollof rice, but you forgot the tomatoes. That's not jollof rice then. That's just rice, mixed in with some spices. That's how Nigeria played in that second half to Benin. Pathetic. Really, it's just disgraceful. Now they have to sit on it until the next World Cup qualifying games and think to themselves, we have to win. They have got to win those next 2 games. If they don't, then the Super Eagles are in super trouble. And I'm really, really worried about them. If I'm going to be honest, watching these games, South Africa have been the best team. They have been the best team. Yes, they suffered that loss away to Rwanda, and that can maybe backfire in the long run. We'll find out later when these games play in 2025. But South Africa are the best team. They're the best coach, they have the best tactics, and they have the best chemistry. But let me know your thoughts, people. What is your thoughts now with Nigeria? Are they in trouble of not qualifying to back-to-back World Cups? Oh my God. The meltdown, will be glorious to see from a neutral's perspective, but also for World Cups and African football, Nigeria have to be up there. With the talent they have, this is disgraceful. And South Africa, I think they're good to qualify for the next World Cup. If they can continue these performances, yeah, the first half against Zimbabwe was frustrating, but if they can show that character they showed in the second half, South Africa will qualify for the World Cup. Group D then, Libya, they destroyed, obviously, Mauritius 2-1. Yeah, it says 2-1. It should have been 5-1, 6-1. Mauritius' goalkeeper was making double save after double save after double save. And keep an eye on Libya. They're an improving team. Yes, they lost to Cape Verde, which we're going to talk about, but they are a tough team to play against. Now, the team that had the most controversy heading into this window when Samuel Eto'o, I just don't know what's going up with him. The TMZ national team, aka Cameroon, they had a disaster heading into this window. It's just so much disorganization within the federation. You thought to yourself, what are Cameroon going to show up when they play against Cape Verde and going away to Angola? Well, Cameroon had some good play as they beat Cape Verde 4-1. They destroyed them on set pieces. This game was merely about set pieces. And Vincent Aboubakar, El Capitan, when he puts on that Cameroon kit, he turns into Mr. Unstoppable, getting 2 goals in the game. But Cameroon were just super deadly on set pieces. Not the greatest from open play, but every time they were on a set piece, they looked like they were going to score. And Cape Verde had no answer for it. No answer. Yeah, there's some controversy because in the second half they got a penalty. It looked like the ball crossed the line and Onana somehow recovered it. But Cape Verde did not play a good game. They defended horribly. They didn't move the ball well. Montero getting the only goal for them. But Cameroon showed some character and showed some desire that they hadn't shown in a long time, in my opinion. They didn't show anything at the AFCON. They didn't show in the first 2 games in these World Cup qualifiers. So to do that against Cape Verde, gotta give some credit to Cameroon and the players and the manager. The next match day, Mauritius obviously beat Eswatini 2-1. No doubt about it. Cape Verde beating Libya 1-0. Dini with the only goal of the game. Libya had a good chance in the in the first half where it was a throw-in and it was at the back post. Somebody was free. That was really the only opportunity Libya created. Cape Verde had all of the ball. They didn't really muster up a lot of great opportunities, but Cape Verde, they will be happy that they got the win, especially against Libya, because Libya are turning out to be a very tough team. And then Angola and Cameroon played out a 1-1 draw where I look at Cameroon. You had a good first half where you could have killed this game. Aboubakar with an incredible chance where he should have really put it on target at least. He didn't even get it on target. It just went back to Yaoundé, the ball. And then Angola, they had a pretty pathetic first half. Like Gelson Dalla was the only one showing some fight. Then the second half, and Angola woke up. And Gelson Dalla basically created that first goal and the only goal for Angola. Then they had a couple of decent opportunities. Cameroon had a decent couple opportunities in the second half. I think 1-1 was a fair result in that game. But this group gets fascinating because now Cameroon on 8 points, Libya on 7 points, Cape Verde on 7 points, Angola on 6 points. You really cannot pick who's going to advance because Cameroon, can you fully trust them? Libya, I think they'll slowly fade away even though they're a strong team. And it then comes down to Cape Verde and Angola. Can they match with Cameroon? I kind of look at Cape Verde and say, you guys can do it. Because the only goals they've conceded in this qualifier so far is against Cameroon. All in one game. Zambia are finito. They're finito. One, they need to sack Avram Grant Immediately. Get him out of there ASAP. Zambia, in their last 9 games, have 1 win. 1 win. And you couldn't beat Tanzania at home. Yes, it's partially down to poor finishing and just poor overall play. And yeah, you're getting unlucky hitting the crossbar and post on a couple occasions in the game against Tanzania. I mean, Zambia are just not good right now. They look disorganized defensively. Going forward is a bit more of hero ball. I don't like the way they play. They got to get rid of Avram Grant ASAP. ASAP. And they lost away to Morocco. Shout out to Ben Seguir getting his first goal for the national team. The 2 new players linking up, Ben Seguir and Brahim Diaz. Just shows you, Morocco got all of the talent in the world. All of the talent. This team will definitely qualify to the World Cup. Tanzania, yes, they're in second place right now. Morocco will win this group. And then Morocco went away to Congo. But the game was played in Morocco. Yo, CAF, man. I get it that you want to play games on a neutral venue. And that Morocco's a good country to have it because they have a lot of good stadiums. Do not do that. That's just basically a home game for Morocco. That I didn't understand. So then Morocco said, cool, we'll drop a 6-piece on your head. And El Kabi. Now, I'm going to ask all the Moroccans in the comments down below. Would you start El Kabi or En Naziri? Because El Kabi right now is inferno. This guy is on fire. He's on fire. A hat trick in this game. Unahi is similar to James Rodriguez. Not the greatest club level. Yeah, you could say tactically or teams don't really understand the way Unahi plays. But when he puts on that Atlas Lions kit, the dude turns into an absolute lion. Unahi is a special, special baller. Morocco, all of this preparation is about hosting the AFCON and winning it. There's nothing short of failure if they don't win that AFCON next time around hosting it. Then obviously qualifying to the World Cup, which they will do because Zambia, they're done. Tanzania, they're not going to pose any threat to Morocco. And Niger, I would be shocked if they somehow pull this off. So this is so easy for Morocco. They're going to qualify to another World Cup. Group F then, Ivory Coast continue their winning ways. Got a 1-0 win over Gabon. Seko Fofana with the only goal in the game. Not really a spectacular performance from Ivory Coast. Gabon are proving to be now the second best team in this group, and they proved it against Gambia. Burundi, Kenya drawing 1-1. Gambia with their new manager winning Seychelles 5-1. Minte getting a goal. Barrow getting a goal. Badamosi getting a goal. But the away game for Gambia, the struggles in the end of Tom Seifeld's tenure with the team are continuing. They can simply not defend. Some of the goals they gave up to Gabon were not great. Aubameyang getting a goal. Bouanga getting a goal. I really feel bad for Minte. Minte is the only one on this team stepping up at the moment. He's getting 2 goals, 19 years old. What a player Minte is. But the Scorpions are not stinging right now. There's no venom in their play. There's no venom in defending. It's just flat. Absolutely flat for Gambia defensively. They're going to have to improve. Look, in 4 games, they've conceded 9 goals. That cannot happen. Ivory Coast, yeah, they went away to Kenya and drew 0-0. I'm not really too flustered by that because I think Ivory Coast are proven to be one of the best teams in Africa. They obviously won the AFCON. I'm not disputing that, people, but Ivory Coast are a damn good team. With all the talent they got, I'm just surprised on who will be second place in this group because right now it's Gabon. Burundi are proving to be a good team. Kenya, yeah, I think they could struggle at times. I mean, everybody will destroy Seychelles. Everybody will go to the wonderful tourist country of Seychelles and get a dub and then beat them or destroy them at home. Well, then we got a shock result in the first match day in this window with Algeria losing to Guinea 2-1. Now, I was shocked by this. I know Algeria have been on a bit of a downward spiral since winning the AFCON back in 2019, but losing at home to Guinea, now that's getting too low. A bad low. Yeah, Guinea played with such confidence and they were moving the ball very nicely. Lucky bounce with the Sila goal, Balde own goal, then to equalize the game for Algeria. Then the Camara's thunderbolt. I mean, absolute thunderbolt. Yeah, the Algerian goalkeeper should have done better, but it was a thunderbolt from Camara, who really was impressive at the AFCON. But my God, Bounedjah had that crazy miss. It was great defending. But again, Algeria, flat, dropping Mares, Petkovic, making weird choices with the lineup. There's just no continuity with this team with Algeria, especially from that match day. The next match day, then, they showed character. I got to give a lot of credit to Algeria because they could have easily said, yeah, we're going to lose this game. We hate Petkovic. We want Mahrez back. But they showed absolute character. But shout out to the Ugandan player, Mutayaba. Mutayaba is 18 years old. He might be the Ugandan Messi. He might be the Ugandan Messi. 18 years old, made the move to Zamalek. I found this out in the last couple of days, people. Because I was like, this Mutayaba guy is destroying the Algerian midfield in that first half. He was unplayable. Algeria had no clue what to do with the ball. They gave up the ball straight to him and he put a thunderbolt. But I will give a lot of credit to Algeria because they could have said, yeah, we're going to lose this game 2-3-0. We're going to give up on qualifying. It's already done. Boom. But they showed character in that second half. Compared to Nigeria, Algeria rose to the fight and they rose to the occasion and said, hey, let's get these 3 points. Houssam Marwa getting the first goal and then Ben Rama getting the second goal after, I don't know what the Ugandan defender is doing. Defending the air or if there's a sniper in the building and he got shot. Because he fell down like he's Boateng against Messi and Algeria pick up, 3 vital points. It might not look vital now, but when it gets to the end of these qualifiers and this group is very competitive, Algerians will look at this and say, remember when we got those 3 points in Kampala? They will remember this. Botswana getting 3 points against Somalia. Somalia, they're competitive, but yeah, they just don't have the quality to match. And then Katomo, who had a great season, I thought was Sporting, getting the late penalty against Guinea. This is the frustrating thing with Guinea. They can play amazing away to Algeria. They can rise to the occasion against Equatorial Guinea at the AFCON and then losing at home. That can not happen from Guinea's perspective, even though the game was played in Morocco. But really disappointing because you have a good window. You start so brilliantly beating Algeria and then wet the bed against Mozambique. But this group, it will go to the final day. Algeria on 9 points, Mozambique on 9 points, Botswana, Guinea, Uganda all on 6 points, and poor old Somalia on 0 points. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, people. If you're Algerian, are you happy with Petkovic with the lineup? Because he made significant improvements with his lineup choices away to Uganda. Yes, it didn't work out in the first half, but you saw it was much better in the second half. And Ben Rama stepping up, Houssam Marwa stepping up. I really wish I don't have to talk about Tunisia. Because, shout out to my Tunisians. I respect your country. But this is so jarring, so boring to watch. In their last 9 games in 2024, Tunisia have scored 3 goals and have conceded 2 goals. The first thing they need to do is sort out their manager issue. Yeah, Luigi was on as an interim, but goddamn, get this sorted ASAP. If you're the Tunisian FA, they have to get it sorted out. The goal they scored against Equatorial Guinea was never a penalty. Never a penalty. Equatorial Guinea have had all of this shit go against them. All of this shit. And Emilio Inouye, obviously suspended. So they got their 2 wins, which he scored in. So they got their first 2 wins cancelled off. And they gave the 3 points to the opponents. Equatorial Guinea are up against it right now. And they got screwed over in that situation, if I'm going to be honest. And Tunisia to get that penalty, come on. Tunisia didn't play well. They didn't create anything. There's no pattern. There's absolutely nothing with this national team. But guess what? They're probably going to qualify to the World Cup. There are benefits of being in this group. There are benefits that Equatorial Guinea, who I think if they didn't have those games canceled off, would have a good chance of qualifying to the World Cup. You got to feel bad for Equatorial Guinea. Namibia, you cannot draw with Liberia. The goal they conceded was so amateur. Really amateur stuff from Namibia. Yeah, they got the draw at home against Tunisia, but I feel like Namibia will feel a little bit hard done by. They haven't lost a game yet in this group. Liberia beating Sao Tome and Principe, even though Sao Tome and Principe are terrible. And Iban Salvador, who didn't feature in the game against away to Tunisia. I think this group is mostly about Tunisia. That, yes, they're going to probably qualify. They haven't conceded a goal, but they got to make some massive, massive improvements within their FA and coaching and playing style. Because what are they going to do in the next AFCON? If they keep playing like this, you're not going to 0-0 your way to an AFCON. Maybe they can. Who knows? It's football and it's Tunisia. I'll ask this in the comments right now. Are Tunisia one of the worst teams to watch play? There's no disrespect. This is just from my perspective as a neutral. Without that penalty, Tunisia would be on, 8 points? Same as Namibia. Only 1 ahead of Liberia. Only 2 ahead of Malawi. It's not good enough from a Tunisian perspective. So let me know your thoughts if you're Tunisian. And if you're obviously Equatorial Guinean, let me know your thoughts of the whole situation with Emilio, because that is such a horrific situation that FIFA waited all these years and then said, hey, you, after all these 11 years, you're actually not eligible to play. So we're going to kick you out. What? Excuse me? Did I hear that right? Yeah, that happened. And then the final group. This group was a bit of a madness. Because Central African Republic getting a victory over Chad and then Ghana. You know what? As much as I have clowned Ghana a lot on this channel, and that's mainly due to the AFCON, even though they did qualify to the World Cup and we had to clown them at the World Cup because, again, they missed a penalty and lost to Uruguay, they have shown some spectacular character in this window. Otto Addoy, now back as manager, they didn't play great away to Mali. They were really struggling with balls over the top constantly during the game. Doumbia scored off a crazy deflection. You thought to yourself, Ghana 1-0 down away to Mali. They're not going to get this victory. Well, Lamperty, I thought, actually played a really good game away to Mali. And then the fantastic cross by Abdul Samid to Nuama at the back post. Mali, again, Mali are the LA Clippers of Africa. It's as simple as that. The amount of chances they had. El Bilal Toure, who's been a good signing for Atalanta, could not find the net. And then Otto Addoy made some incredible in-game decisions, bringing on Fatau and Andre Ayew, who then combined after Fatau's incredible work to get the ball back, and Ayew gets the winner. Ayew was man of the match of this window for Ghana. Without him, they would have not maybe won both of these games. The only issue I have with Ghana is that they got to defend a lot better. If you're playing that back five, you have to defend better. And they really didn't in both games against Mali and Central African Republic. And it's more of that Mali are just a bunch of bottlers. With all of the talent they have, how they have not been better and producing much better performances. You are playing 10-man Madagascar for almost 75 minutes. And you cannot score one goal. They had like 68% ball possession. They had 13 shots or something like that. With all the talent they got in the world, El Bilal Toure starting that game, they're finito. They got 5 points. Comoros already got 9 points. Ghana already got 9 points. Madagascar beating Comoros in the Island Derby with 7 points. Mali. The manager Chele, who you might remember was the famous dude in that meme where the pouring of the water, he might be done. Even a Mali journalist asked him to resign. After they lost to Ghana. So he might be done after this window, because only securing 1 point and having a lead over Ghana and having 10-man Madagascar for 75 minutes, inexcusable. He is finito. And Comoros beating Chad 2-0, even though the goalkeeper for Chad made a crazy, horrible mistake for the second goal for Comoros. And shout out to Jordan Ayew getting a hat-trick against the Central African Republic. Even though Mafuta scored incredible hat-trick, the third goal he scored was an absolute banger. The thing that Ghana really have to improve on with Otto Addoy is they got to be better defensively, especially with balls over the top. So many times against Mali and Central African Republic, it was just one ball over the top and the team would create a great chance. So if Ghana can improve defensively, because no doubt they got all of the attacking talent from Sulemana to Semenyo to Kudus to Fatau to Jordan Ayew. They're good in that department, but they got to be better defensively. Once they can improve on that, Ghana will qualify for the World Cup. But this was a big window for them. Getting 6 points, and you're going to still host Comoros. I think this is a great window by Ghana. A horrible window for Mali. But yet, it is the Comoros who are in first place in this group. So let me know your thoughts, people, if you're Ghanaian. Are you happy now with your team's performances? Do you agree with me that defensively it has to improve a lot more? And Fatau, what a baller he is. So there we have it, people. The World Cup qualifying review video for June. From CAF to CONCACAF to AFC. I've watched so many games during this window. So if you could help me with the research I've done and all of the games I've watched, to please hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments down below if your nation played in this window. Are you happy with your nation? Are you disappointed? Or are you just saying, my nation is a disgrace like the Super Eagles? Remember, we will be back here in September for World Cup Qualifiers review with CONMEBOL and the AFC, as the AFC will start their next round. No CONCACAF for a long time and no CAF for a long time either. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Remember to join the Discord, as we will be having a lot of talk during the Copa America and Euros in the Discord. Remember to join my Patreon. There's a couple Patreon videos on the Patreon channel. But have a beautiful day. Stay safe in this crazy world. And until next time, Adios.